Hi friends! Welcome to Get Your Play Online. Today for science, we are going to be experimenting and making some fairy potions. So we will be making some really easy potions inspired by fairies for our storybook week. And then we are going to read a little story together, and this is called Fairy Science. It's super cute, and I feel like it really ties in our activity today with elements of science. So, there's a lot of components to our fairy potions, but the most important is going to be baking soda and vinegar today. I love using these two ingredients to experiment with because they are so easy for a lot of people to use and have fun with. So first and foremost, you're going to need some baking soda and some vinegar, and I actually have my vinegar in this little jar here. Um, this was just to show you guys kind of what vinegar would look like coming from your kitchen. So please ask mom or dad to help you find these ingredients and make sure that it's okay to use them. So baking soda and vinegar. We're also going to need some food coloring and some glitter. This part is optional, but I feel like it's so much fun when you add glitter. It really does add a little bit of fairy magic to the potions. Um, we are going to need some glass jars. You can use glass jars, or even if you have like a test tube like this would be great. But if you only have something like a mason jar or like a clear glass container or cup, that is totally fine as well. You can use a pipette or a spoon, which I'm gonna have to go grab my spoon. I left it in the sink. So pipette, and of course, we are going to need some natural elements because fairies live in nature. So I have collected some grass leaves, a part of a plant here, some bark and some pine cones, and some flower petals. And we're going to mix these in with our potions today to make them extra magical. And if you are going to be making your fairy potions in a jar like this that has a lid, I definitely recommend doing that so that you can keep your potion, and you can even label your potion with some tape and a permanent marker. But please be sure to ask mom or dad if it's okay to use permanent marker, or ask them for help. So that's about all that we need for today. I'm going to go run and grab my spoon really quick, and then we can get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is just kind of set out your jars. And you can make as many potions as you want. I'm only making 4 today because I have 4 different colors of food coloring. So I just thought it would be nice to show you guys what all you can make your potions look like with the 4 different colors of basic food dye. So just go ahead and set out your glass jars that you're going to be using, or your containers. So I'm going to get my test tube ready. And now we're going to take a look at the things we collected from outside. So it is really fun to kind of go outside and go on a little bit of a scavenger hunt for things maybe in your yard or your neighborhood, maybe even in your house, that you think would go nicely in a fairy potion, because of course fairies do live outside. Usually they live in the woods, so that's why I chose things like this little fern, and even like a part of this pine cone I found in my backyard. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of these little pieces of nature, and I'm going to divide them up into my 4 separate jars. You can do this any way you want, whatever you think is going to look the best, whatever magic ingredients you feel like your potions need, pick them up and separate them out into your jars. So I think my magic potions today are going to be color coordinated. So I'm going to put all of my green stuff in one jar. So that's what I have in my first jar. I have my blades of grass and my little fern. Here in my next jar, I'm going to put all of my pieces of pine cone and bark. So there's my second jar. It's just got all of the kind of like brownish red, red things in there. And last, I'm going to be putting my flower petals in my third jar because I found yellow flower petals. I think they're so pretty. So here's my third jar with the flower petals. And now we can go ahead and add our glitter. And I have some really cute special glitter here. I have some star confetti. And I have this like multicolored glitter. So if you have any kind of special glitter like that at your house, I think that's really fun to use for this experiment. So I'm going to put my stars in my test tube over here. I think that's going to be really pretty. So I've got my star glitter over here. I have some gold glitter right here that I think would look so pretty with my yellow flower petals. So really guys, just kind of see what all you have at your house. You know, what kind of colors you have, or what kind of glitter you have, and just get creative and kind of mix things together and really just kind of find what speaks to you, however you want your potions to look like. So here is my glitter with my flower petals, and I also have some red glitter here. I'm going to put my red glitter in with the pine cones and the bark that I found in my yard. I'm going to put lots and lots of glitter. You can never have too much. I love glitter. There's my glitter, my red glitter in with my pine cones and my bark. And I think I'm going to put some of my multicolored sequins in with my green blades of grass and my fern. Whoops, I spilt some. That's okay. And a good tip for this, please be sure that you're doing this in an area that you can get messy. That's why I have this little plastic tray here. You can do this like in a sink or even a bathtub, because when we use the baking soda and vinegar, it might get a little bit messy just with pouring and things like that. So we want to be sure and protect the table that we're working on, and that's why I have my plastic tray. You can use like a big Tupperware bin, like a tub if you have that. So now we're going to take our spoon and our baking soda, and we are going to put about 2 spoonfuls in each of our jars. And this, guys, is really going to depend on what size jar you have. So you don't want to put too much baking soda, because you don't want to make it clumpy. Like, you don't want to have too many clumps in your potions. But if you're using a jar that's kind of similar to mine, this is about how much I put in there. I just did 2 little scoops, and I'm actually just going to put a tiny bit more. Just eyeball it. There's no perfect way to do this. You can make your own recipe, your own potions. If you're feeling like you don't really know how much to put in, definitely ask an adult for help. And then over here, my test tube, I'm just going to put the tiniest bit, like half a spoonful, this much. I'm going to put it inside my test tube. And I'm using this cup to kind of catch whatever falls out of the test tube. Okay. So we have our baking soda, our glitter, and we have our little nature items in. Just kind of give them a shake. Make sure everything's mixed. And now we're gonna apply our food coloring. So like I said before, I have 4 different colors. And I'm gonna put 1 color in each of my containers. So I'm gonna take my green and I'm putting it in with my green items like my grass and my fern. And for this amount of baking soda, I'm putting about 3 drops of food coloring. 1, 2, 3. You really shouldn't need more than that, no matter how big your container is. So I'm taking my yellow and I'm gonna put it in with my gold glitter and my yellow flower petals. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next is red. I'm gonna put my red in with that red glitter and the pine cones in the bark. 1, 2, 3. And last but not least, I am using my blue. I'm gonna put it in my test tube with the star confetti, and I'm just gonna put a couple drops. 1, 2. That's it. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. All right, friends. So part of being a scientist is kind of mixing together and experimenting with the amount of different products that you have and the different ingredients that you have. And that's kind of what we're doing today. We are using our we're using science to kind of mix together a fun fairy potion. So, of course, the most important ingredient is going to be our vinegar. So go ahead and grab your vinegar. We're going to pour it in our jars. And if you have a test tube like me, then I definitely recommend using a dropper or a pipette. It's going to be a lot easier to get that in here than it would be to pour. So baking soda and vinegar are some of my favorite ingredients to experiment with because when they mix together, something super special happens. They create a chemical reaction, and we're gonna find out exactly what that looks like today. So right now we kind of just have dry, powdery potions, right? They're not very liquidy and they're not very fun just yet. But let's go ahead and add our vinegar and we're going to watch what happens. And I'm gonna get you guys down a little bit closer so you can see the top of the jars. There we go. Okay, so like I said, please ask an adult for help pouring out the vinegar, or just make sure, if you're older and you're allowed to use these ingredients, make sure your parents know that you are using this because we are gonna use quite a bit of it. So we're just going to slowly pour our vinegar and let's watch what happens. Wow! Our potion came to life. That looks so cool. How about I add just a little bit more? Whoa! It's bubbling and I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. Get all the baking soda off the bottom. Mix it up. Very cool. Okay, now I'm going to pour in my green. Wow, that one almost overflowed. That was so cool. Mix it, mix it, mix it. Looking good, guys. Okay, now I have my yellow flower petals. And we're going to pour. Let me get this one up front so y'all can see. We're going to pour. Whoa, that was so close to overflowing. That looked so cool. Mix it up, mix it up. No more baking soda on the bottom. And last but not least, I'm going to try using my pipette for my test tube over here. If it doesn't quite work, then I'm going to try and pour it and use the cup to catch all the spills. So I'm going to squeeze my pipette. Oh no, I'm going to squeeze my pipette, put it in the liquid, and then let go. And that should hold some liquid inside of your dropper. Whoa! This one is bubbling up, and ooh, that's a really pretty blue. Let's add a little bit more. Wow. This one is so pretty. I love the blue and the stars together. I think this one might be my favorite. I'm going to put the topper on my glass tube and I'm gonna shake it. All right. And lastly, I'm just gonna pour a little bit in here because I feel like my baking soda isn't all the way dissolved. And that's okay, right? Because we're scientists and it's okay if something doesn't turn out perfectly the first time you do it. You just have to kind of reevaluate and then try again. So I'm just going to try and pour. Whoa! It overflowed. That was so cool. That was the reaction I was hoping for. That was really cool. Okay, I think this one is all done. And I did lose some stars, but that's okay. That was really cool to watch. You know what? Let's see if any of our other potions need a little bit more vinegar in them to help them keep bubbling. Let's see. I can kind of still hear them fizzing a little bit. Let's see. Whoa! Very cool. My red one definitely was still fizzing. How about yellow? Whoa! Super cool. Let's see, do we think our green one is going to keep fizzing? Wow! It's so pretty to watch the colors and all of the bubbles and the glitter come together. Whoa, the yellow one is so pretty. I think actually, I take it back. I think the yellow might be my favorite. So friends, what do you hear when you're mixing together your potions? I hear lots of fizzing, lots and lots of fizzing, tiny little bubbles. What do you hear? looks like my test tube was leaking just a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to put it right back in my cup. So that might be a good idea to have some paper towels handy. But friends, these are so beautiful, and they really do look just like a fairy potion with our leaves and our petals and our pine cones and all the glitter. They are so pretty, and I love them. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is to save our potions. So if you are using containers that have lids, go ahead and pop those lids on. This one I'm going to set off to the side because I'm not going to put a label on this one. It's just going to end up leaking, and unfortunately I don't think I can save it because the cork is leaking a bunch. That's okay. I still have 3 gorgeous potions. So I'm putting the lid on, and here you can kind of shake it up too and kind of watch what happens when you shake it. Make sure to let the pressure out if you do shake it. Twist the lid. So let's put our lids on. Yes, that is a big safety thing, friends. I want to warn you, if you do put a lid on your potion, make sure if you shake it up to dissolve all the rest of that baking soda, make sure you open the lid, twist it off, so that all of the pressure and the air can come out. So just a little safety precaution. You can shake it, but you do need to release the air that's trapped inside. Okay, so we've got our lids on, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you want to keep your potions just like as a display, you can't really use these as a sensory calming bottle if you use the baking soda and vinegar, because like I said, the baking soda and vinegar come together to make a chemical reaction, so the air is going to build up inside. And I don't recommend keeping these as, something that you shake or play with, because it'll agitate the baking soda and cause pressure inside of your jar. And this is glass, so we don't want to be playing with these. If you want to keep them for a couple days just on a shelf to look at, that is totally okay. But please don't shake these up and then keep them on a shelf for days and days. You have to take the lids off, otherwise the glass might actually break from the pressure inside. Okay, so I'm going to take a little piece of tape, and I'm just going to put a little piece of tape on each lid. And if you can't write or spell yet, definitely ask an adult to help you with this, and especially because we're using Sharpie or a permanent marker, make sure mom and dad or an adult know that you're using a permanent marker, and they can even help you if you need it. So now we get to name our potions, and they can be really simple names like the color or even what's inside. So I think this one I'm going to name, I'm going to name this one Pine Cones. This is my pine cone potion, because remember, this red one is what I put all of those little pieces of pine cone and bark in. This one is going to be Dandelion. Because those were the petals that I put inside. And here, this one is going to be called Fern. I'm going to name this potion Fern, because I had a fern leaf on the inside and it's green just like a fern. Okay. So there are our potions. Like I said, please don't keep these too long closed. We don't want the pressure to build up too much on the inside from the baking soda and vinegar. So I would say keep them out for maybe a couple days and then go ahead and use these potions up. Maybe if you want to toss them in the yard to get rid of all the baking soda and vinegar and the glitter inside, that would be a good place to empty out these jars. You probably don't want to put them down your sink. So definitely, these are so cute. I love how glittery they are and how fun they are. But definitely use them up. Just like a fairy would use her potions or his potions, use them up. Don't let them sit on the shelf too long. Okay, so now that we've made our potions, I just want to wind down a little bit and read a book together just to tie our theme in. And I love this book so much. I hope that you guys enjoy it too. Let me just clear off my space here and we can start reading. Okay, this book is called Fairy Science. It was written by Ashley Spires. And I'll read the back for you guys. It says, magic or science? Esther chooses science, even though all her fairy mates in Pixieville believe in magic. So let's find out. It looks like this is probably Esther. This is our main character, Esther. And she has fairy friends. Let's find out if it's science or if it's magic. Esther does not believe in magic. This is unusual because Esther is a fairy, and fairies are all about magic. They use magic wands and they mix magic potions. Some fairies even make magical fairy dust. Shaboom! Esther is pretty sure that's just dandruff. She is the only fairy in Pixieville that believes in science. Esther prefers facts, data, and hard evidence to wishing on stars. And this sign up here says Esther's Laboratory. Unfortunately, the only thing they teach in fairy school is magic. Class is very frustrating for Esther. Fairies were born when a drop of rain passed through a rainbow and landed on a flower bud. When the flower bloomed, the first fairy took flight. That's what her teacher is saying to all of the class. It's very frustrating for Miss Pelly Petal. Esther says, as you can see from this chart, it is more likely that fairies, as a species, evolved in response to influences such as environment and diet. Esther can't help observing the world differently from everyone else. Where other fairies see a path to hidden gold, Esther sees light and water colliding. Follow the rainbow. Well, the water helps us see all the colors that are hidden in the sunlight. That's called dispersion. Where they see a dangerous omen, she sees condensation. When the temperature is just right, water droplets are suspended in the air. They're running away from the fog. Where they see faces of the spirits, she sees erosion. Esther says, rocks get worn away by water and wind. The faces are just your imagination. Her bird friend says, I don't think they are listening. Esther can't wait to teach the scientific method to her fairy mates. Ask a question, do some research to find out more, make a hypothesis, which is a fancy word for a guess, Do experiments, study the results, draw a conclusion. Eureka! Or you could just do magic. She shows them the periodic table. This is a list of all the elements that make up our whole universe. No, not all of them. Where are dreams and wishes and sunshine? Gravity is why things fall down instead of up. She even demonstrates gravity. But her classmates say, but we can go up, so we must be magic. They just don't get it. Ping, whoosh. That was definitely gravity. And there is definitely something wrong with this tree. It's wilting. Alakazoo, the fairies do their best to help. They cast spells, they make magic talismans, they even do a mystical moonlight dance. But nothing works. The tree keeps on wilting. Esther asks a question. She does some research. Why is the tree wilting? She makes a hypothesis and she tries some experiments. She studies her results. At last, Esther draws a conclusion. Eureka! The tree needs more. And she's holding a picture of a sun. Sun! Simbalahu, Simbalahi, I'm doing some magic to save this tree. This is her teacher down here with their classmates doing magic on the tree. And Esther has just cleared a pathway for the tree to get more sun. Now she waits for the sun to do its work. She waits and waits and waits and waits. It took a while, but the tree is looking positively perky. She did it. Esther has proven the power of science. Her classmate says, Miss Pelly Petal did it. The magic tray saved the tree. At least she thought she did. She might not have changed the other fairies' minds, but Esther has inspired some questions. Her classmates say, how did you do that? Can you teach us science? And that's where every good scientist starts. The end. That was such a fun book. I love fairy science. So I hope that you guys had such a fun time with me today making our fairy potions and reading this book by Ashley Spires. I love it so much. And if you recreate your own fairy potions, definitely take a picture and ask mom and dad to post it in the comments of this video so that we can see it here at Get Your Play Online. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy all of the storybook activities that we have planned for you this week. Bye!